if that's okay with everybody. So we'll just go around and introduce ourselves. And I also want to share that Joanne Zitter, and I don't know if she's going to be able to join us tonight or not.
She's here.
What?
She's here.
Joanne?
Oh, no.
I don't see her.
It's
Yeah.
Jones here, right?
Joan's here.
I was close.
Joanne is going to be working with Lynn on programming, and
Woo-hoo.
Susie is going to help transition and then take a step back and just focus on helping us with the gun violence prevention piece. And she also has a lot of other involvements that she's busy with. So she's asked to step down a little bit. So Joanne will probably be here. She'll be joining our meetings in the future, if not tonight, but we're pretty well set through the summer. So we've got a lot of time to get everybody settled. So if you just want to go around and introduce yourself, I'm Sharon Stein. I'm co-chair of the committee with Linda Muskin, and Lynn, you're on my in the box next to me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lynn Frank. I'm co-chair for programming. Joan.
I'm Joan Less. I did the stuffed animal collection and the delivery of the meals to the church. Oh, I'm sorry. Alice.
Hi, Alice Cohn. I take the minutes and I do the writing for the Kihila. Maida.
Hi, I'm Maida Levin. I am the liaison with the Lake County United. I sit on the Lake County United steering team, and I also am on the national team for Do Not Stand Idly By in the National Gun Safety Consortium. Julie.
Hi, everybody. I'm not usually on this call, but I was invited to be here to talk about Macomb's engagement in RAC Illinois' listening campaign. Let's see, Rich.
Rich, you're muted.
Find my button, be able to click on it. Rich Amond, I coordinate with RAC Illinois and other Jewish organizations doing social justice work. Floyd.
I am Floyd Keene, and I'm responsible for the committee's budget, making sure we have enough funds to pay for our expenses. Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Feldman. I work with the Deerfield Free Store with the refugees, in addition to co-chairing with Amy the Day of Action.
And sorry, I'm texting Laura Frisch because she lost the link. So
Vanessa did not officially go.
okay, Vanessa, do you want to?
Absolutely. Vanessa Ehrlich, Director of Lifelong Learning and Tikkun Olam advocate and liaison. Julie, did you go?
Yeah, she did.
I think everyone went.
Okay.
Okay, let me just send this to Laura. Whoops. All right, let's see who's first. Okay. So Alan's not here yet. So we'll so Julie, do you want to talk a little bit? So we had several listening sessions for the RAC Illinois Tashema. Our last one, the virtual one, being the most robust. And Julie took all the data and compiled it and sent off a little report to Erin Sofian, who's the coordinator, and she's just going to share a little bit about what she knows about our data and moving forward.
Thanks, Sharon. So first of all, I just want to congratulate this team, because I think Macomb, we had a very strong participation in the Tashema listening campaign, and just I won't go through like all the history, but just to say this is actually RAC Illinois' first full scale listening campaign, because when we started, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, there wasn't a RAC Illinois at the beginning, obviously. So we did things one-to-ones and then sort of convenings, but this is the first time RAC Illinois is doing a full listening campaign. And one of the sort of truisms of organizing is that all organizing is reorganizing. And so this is a moment of reorganizing. And it's really fun to see so many faces of people that I've worked with on organizing. I mean, since way back when, way before RAC Illinois, it's probably been 20 years almost. I'm just looking at some of your faces, having been in those meetings together too. So I think we had 4 sessions or 4 and some one-to-ones. We had 2, one or 2 in person, and then we had the virtual one. And Wendy Rhodes also had a house meeting. And so how many, Vanessa, you probably know this, or maybe someone else, how many households do we have at this point, roughly, ballpark?
You mean in the congregation?
Mm-hmm.
About 580.
Okay, so we had about almost between 40 and 45. A few other people joined on the virtual one, and we didn't have everybody's sign-in information. So we had between 40 and 45 people, which for a congregation of our size is outstanding. So that is really good news. And the whole point of this is to sort of take a pulse of, where RAC Illinois wide, where do our leaders feel called to action, and so this is a really good, I think, pulse of our congregation. And I have a spreadsheet of that, and if we want to talk later or however you want to handle that, Sharon, about turnout for a strategy turnout for the report back session, which I have not heard when it's scheduled. It is not going to be June 11th. That we know. It's not going to conflict with the Cole Zimra concert. So that's good news, especially since it's at our congregation. But I just wanted to share some of the key topics. I kind of grouped them because, as you can imagine, people are, everything from A to Z was mentioned. But in terms of what were the top pieces, one is anti-Semitism was mentioned by several people, and actually we have several adult children of Holocaust survivors primarily, or not primarily, but we had several people that shared some of their stories and sort of how the things happening now feel similar to things that happened, prior to the Shoah. And that's obviously on everyone's mind. So that's one issue. The other big issue that came up was, not surprisingly, gun violence prevention, and that ranged from the assault weapons ban to other forms of gun control, soup to nuts, longer periods for background checks, and also education for new gun owners, those kinds of things. And I know we're very involved in moms and in gun violence work. So that's one piece. Another piece was an environmental justice, which, again, a lot of things went into that category. Another one is human rights. I just sort of made that up, but it includes things like abortion rights, LGBTQ rights, immigrant and refugee rights, access to social services for all, and intervention with victims of child abuse, another big issue on people's minds. And then last but not least, or actually I guess there were 2 others. One was racial justice, and that, got also broad category of civil rights and civic engagement. And this was a really big one that came up, was really the disparity between the haves and the have-nots, income disparity, education disparity, housing disparity, it goes on and on, and issues around, what we're seeing on the news every night in terms of immigrants sleeping on the streets, and those types of things that need to be addressed. And then Another category, which I don't think RAC Illinois will act on, because the way that we choose campaigns is it's an intersection between the shared priorities, what we care about, what is really in our hearts and motivating us, and then where are the opportunities? Because to just stand and scream at a wall that's an immovable wall, that there's certainly room for that work in justice work. And I mean, I know I spend plenty of time doing that, but RAC Illinois builds power, just as Lake County United does, to leverage it strategically. And so this last one is sort of the general anxiety about the state of the country and where we could be headed at this moment. And so that's kind of there. But I do feel like a lot of times acting collectively and making and having some wins, and we have, which has been wonderful, are the main things. And so all of the congregations that are participating in this in RAC Illinois and in this campaign are sending similar reports. And I know that these are, many of these things have come up in many of the other conversations and congregations, mostly just from casual conversations I've had with other people involved in this work. And so soon, I know sometime in June, they're planning to report back where they're going to share like what we heard from our congregants in terms of being top priorities. And then this will be another opportunity to do a wider net sweep of people that want to get involved in all aspects of the work that RAC Illinois does, including researching where we can be impactful and how we train leaders to do, actually Sharon, you've been doing this for as long as I have for sure, but to do the cultivation and the relationship building that is really at the core of our model. I don't have the date for that yet, but I think once we have the date, we have for sure 45 people that we want to make sure get personal, a letter and an invitation from somebody on this team, or like Wendy's not here, but people that and directly to attend that report back session. And it'll also be recorded, I think. And that is, as we know, that's what turns people out for any action. So that'll be another June effort. And if anyone has questions, happy to.
Thanks so much, Julie, for clarifying that and putting all the information together. And as soon as we hear about the June date, we'll let everybody know so that we can plan for it. As Julie alluded to, they picked a date that did not fit in well with, Macomb's schedule. So thankfully they changed that, but also a lot of congregations have Kol Zimra members. So I think that that was good that it got changed, but I know it's very hard to coordinate an event for 20 some congregations. So thank you. So we have a new refugee family that's been here, I think maybe about a month. And Alan, welcome. Do you want to just bring us briefly up to date on what's going on?
Sure. It's been a month and 2 days, actually.
Okay.
We have a delightful family. The father is originally from Burma. The mother is also from Southeast Asia. At least he is a Rohingya. I'm not sure if she is Rohingya, but they are both Muslim. Their children are 18 and 16 years old. And we found out to great delight the day they arrived at the airport that those two teenagers are fluent in English. And therefore we don't need to tutor them. We're not sure whether they're going to enter high school, which is going to be Amundsen High School, before the school year is over. I think it's more likely that they'll enter in September, but there will be summer programs for both of them. We have had people going every weekend to meet and work with them. And the parents are taking ESL classes at Refugee One. And they live only about a mile from the new Refugee One building. So it's very convenient for them. So all is off to a very good start. We've had people donate bicycles for all of the family members. Soccer balls was another request. The latest request is for a microwave, which I believed Stacy has posted on the synagogue's website, but that is the latest request. They also will be, it'll be a while before employment comes up, but Refugee One will help them with employment. And they have some medical appointments sometime this month. I forget when it is, but we'll be providing them either directions for public transportation or taking them there. I want to report on one other thing, if I can take another minute. The first family, which our congregation co-sponsored 5 years ago, was the Amir Hussein family. They came here with 2 children. They now have 4 children. They have purchased, in conjunction with the father's uncle, a 3-flat in West Rogers Park, and are renting at least, I think it's the basement, to another refugee family. And I'm going to be taking the father on the 21st of June for his citizenship exam. And Lori Caden is helping him study for that exam. So they're moving along very well.
That is great news. Yeah, what an accomplishment in just 5 years too, you know?
That's the earliest you can do it. So
yeah, citizenship and property owner and wow.
Alan, how's our Afghan family doing?
That's a little more difficult to say. They did on their own find an apartment in West Rogers Park. So they're better situated now. The teenage daughter is doing very well. We got her into both Sullivan High School and a program through Girl Forward, which is a wonderful organization. So she participated in our summer program last summer. She has a full-time adult mentor with them now. The younger boys are, I think, doing well in elementary school, and the 3 men continue to work in a factory, which is somewhat remote from where they live. But when we offered to try to get them jobs closer to where they live, they didn't take us up on that offer. So, but overall, I think they are doing well, coming out of the most difficult situation of any of the families we sponsored, with the immediate trauma of coming out of a war zone.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for Alan? And to speak to the microwave issue, Amy talked to the Deerfield to Aaron at Deerfield Free Store, and I'm happened to be there this Wednesday, so I'm going to see if they have one available for the family.
Great. Let me know if you. Let me know.
I will
if
let
they
you and
do.
Amy know if there's one available there.
Okay, we have 2 people going on Saturdays, so
Yeah,
if we
me.
get one. Oh, that's right.
So I
forgot
haven't been
about
there.
that.
I haven't been there yet. So if I can get one Wednesday, I'll take it down with me on Saturday.
That's great. Thanks, Sharon.
So just need somebody to help me get it in the car. So anyway, we'll see what they have. But
Okay.
it's good that it's going so well with them. And to speak to your point, I think that's a huge difference. Our other families had like transition time in refugee camps, especially this one, from what I understand. And the Afghan family came like, boom, they were in Afghan, they were here, there was no time to mourn or think or anything. So it's interesting to the difference.
One of the frustrations with our Congress, which doesn't seem to be able to get much accomplished. We've been in efforts with many thousands of people to try to get the Afghan Adjustment Act passed, which would allow all these parolees from Afghanistan to be put in a position that would be same as refugees. In other words, they would get a path to citizenship within 5 years. Right now, they have no path. And literally in 2 years, they could either be forced to leave the country, but they all have applied for asylum, and that can last for years. But I just heard today there's going to be another push in the middle of June to try to get that act passed.
All right, well, let us know, if we should, when and if we should be contacting our legislators.
Every week.
Okay.
Bombard, Brad Schneider, or whoever else's district you live in.
Okay. We can do that. We can get that in the, posted too in our information, our action information. Thank you
Okay,
so
thanks.
much. Thanks so much to you, Alan, for, coordinating all this. It's a huge task and it's good work. All right, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Juneteenth event since Rabbi's not here. So 2 years ago, or Wendy Rhodes and Dana Friedman Graham headed up a DEI task force for our congregation, and there was all different committees. And one of the outcomes of that was recommending a Juneteenth event. So Rabbi Ike has coordinated, and I'm going to read a little bit because he sent me a long email, and I'm actually going to send it to you because after tonight, because his philosophy on this is just beautiful. But he wants the Juneteenth event to be thoughtful. He wants reflection followed by jubilation. So the way he envisions the day is it's going to be a fast day for us, and then we will come together at 7 o'clock at Macomb, and he's invited Reverend Cornelius Parks, who is the pastor at Good Hope Free Will Baptist Church. I think that's on the west side or near Garfield Park. And some members of Reverend Parks' congregation will come up with him, and there'll be a little program, and we'll have a break fast celebration at Macomb. So this is going to be on Monday, June 19th. The office staff is coordinating a lot of it, but at the actual event, or maybe that day, we can be of help, of course, welcoming the other congregants and participating and making this a priority for us. So as we get more information, I know that Reverend Parks was up at Macomb today looking at the space and talking about the arrangements with Rabbi Ike. So as I get information, and Vanessa, you'll share with us, we'll see what we can do to help, and certainly get support from our committee as well as other congregants to attend. Alan,
Right.
is your hand up?
From what I understand, Sharon, is that there'll be a form for you to fill out. We'll pay for our meals, but from the congregation coming from the city, we'll be angeling their dinner. And so just be sure to sign up.
Okay.
Sorry, Alan, go ahead.
No, you answered my question, thanks. I
Okay.
wanted to make sure that members of the other congregation will be involved.
Absolutely. I mean, since the minute we floated the Juneteenth, I said, we can't do a Juneteenth with just white people. That just looks ridiculous. So we finally found a partner, and I think it's going to be an engaging and wonderful night.
Mhm. There is a possibility also that, so this congregation had members who were shot at the shooting on Halloween. Rabbis reached out before, and they are looking for, you know, they need help with medical expenses, but there's also a chance that we might be doing collecting something for them in June that tangible that we could give to them that evening or take down there, you know, at the end of June. We've got another collection request too, so Vanessa's going to talk about that a little later, but just so you know, we're going to see what else we can do to help them and partner with them, hopefully going forward too. And on that note, Laura Frisch is here. Thank you for joining us, Laura. I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, but she's gonna, Solel and then Macomb Solel Lakeside, we have partnered for many years with MASK, Moms and Men Against Senseless Killings in Inglewood. And so Laura's going to talk a little bit about our past interactions with them and then what's planned for this summer. And you need to unmute, Laura.
Yeah, so I just put in the chat the website for Mothers and Men Against Senseless Killing. That will give you an idea of sort of what it is. If you want to look at it while I'm chatting, that'll kind of give you a better idea. We've been working with them since almost since they started, and we've been going down there. It started with Tamar Manasseh and Kim, Kim Snow, and Kim is also known as Kendra. So Kendra and Tamar started this when a friend of theirs was shot on the corner of 75th and Stewart, and she was shot and killed because she stood in front of her kids so that they would not get hurt. And it was just a summer evening, and they were just simply out on the corner just talking and chatting. So, you know, we hear about Inglewood in the news, and we hear about lots of places in Chicago and all over the country. But what happened there was that these women just took up their chairs and they just sat on the corner and they said, we're done with this. And so they actually sat down and they started having barbecues. They started having food and just talking to people and saying, you know, who are you? What's your name? I'm Tamar. Do you need something to eat? Do you need, what is it that you need that we need to get rid of the guns for? And a lot of times it was just to talk and have a hug. And that was honestly all that people really wanted from them. They did start looking at the issues of kids. And so their main focus is the children in the neighborhood. We went from when they first started, Maria Pike, who is actually, she's been to Macomb Solel several times. Whenever we've had something going on that's sort of open to the public, she's come. She came when there was the Highland Park shooting, and she's come several times. So Maria is a huge activist with Moms and Men Action, and Maria started going down there to help these women out, because that's part of what Moms and Men Action does, is goes and works with small organizations throughout the country. And especially when we started with them, it was when we were really concerned that we weren't getting to the areas that have always been affected by gun violence. So so Maria was going, and she's a friend of mine, and she was like, come down here. This is this is what it's all about, and it's so much fun. So I started going down the first time I went with a friend of mine who's Muslim and a friend of mine who's she's actually a Protestant minister. And so, you know, a Jew and a Muslim and a Christian went down to the corner at 75th and Stewart. And we brought food and we brought jump ropes for the kids and balls for the kids. And we were literally on the corner, like on the sidewalk. I don't know where it came from, but they brought like a barbecue grill out. We took out all the food from our trucks that we had, and we just started feeding them. And Dilnaz Warwich is, if you're involved at all with interfaith, with any of the Muslim leaders in our Chicago area, she is one of the biggest leaders, and she was the Muslim who went with us. And her sons are incredibly amazing activists as well. And they were teenagers at the time. They're just a few years older than my son. And they came down and they were playing with the kids and all of this. And it was an amazing experience. That's where I became friends with Tamar. Tamar Manasseh is a rabbi. She grew up in Inglewood. She lives in Bronzeville, and she's the first woman to be ordained in the Black congregations they were started in New York, and there's one in Chicago in Humboldt Park. So that was amazing. That was just like a little over a year ago. So in long story short, they continue to do dinners on the corner. They continue to make this one of the safest corners, not only in Inglewood, but in the whole city. And she has brought her message to Queens, New York. She's brought it to Mississippi, to other places. There are a few other mass organizations throughout the country. And they are all about, and she has said it, she's like, this isn't just about Inglewood. She's like, every corner, every block, people should get out and talk to their neighbors and get to know them. And if there are kids in your neighborhood who need help, talk to them. Let the parents know, if you've got to work late, we're right here. We're right on the corner. So they eventually, a lot of politics, et cetera, they took over the corner across the street. They were actually kind of kicked out of the corner that they were squatting on. And they literally took it over thanks to Preckwinkle, who gave them half of the gave them half of the lot that was across the street. It was an empty lot, and they went in there and they got half of it from the Cook County, which owned half of it, and the city of Chicago owned the other half. And they would, Rahm Emanuel refused to work with them. The Lori Lightfoot refused to work with them. They're trying to work with Johnson now, but eventually they did get that half. They're actually still kind of squatting on it, which is an odd experience there. So when you go down there, the city allowed them to take shipping containers and repurpose them into classrooms. So there's one office, there's one classroom with half of the kitchen in it, which is only a refrigerator and countertops with their food in it. And then two classrooms that have the school supplies, tables, things like that. They have some heaters, they have electricity there. There's no running water at the corner. They have a portable bathroom that they pay for. I don't know if you've ever done portable bathrooms for an organization. I've done it before, just renting them, and they literally rent that portable bathroom. It is a handicap accessible bathroom, and they rent that to have it on the property. It gets cleaned out every week. But they have no water there. So they are currently growing a garden there. They have a pergola with shade for the summer. It's absolutely amazing what they've done there. So we are going to be going down there, and we're going to bring dinner. Children and adults and people of all ages are welcome. Her thing is to build community by having people come and building the community there. I've worked with some people who have gone down with us, and they've sort of learned the way of the block, because I think often we say, oh, we're going to have a barbecue, we're going to get together. You show up at 6 o'clock, you eat at 6:30, and you leave by 8. And that's just not how it works there. You get there, you see what help people need, you say hi, you give hugs, you chat. That's what it's all about. It's about building community. And, sometimes you're just sitting in a lawn chair talking to someone, and that's where the real work is getting done. So what we're going to do is we're going to get together. I believe, Sharon, we've sort of put together a menu. I think we're doing like chicken sandwiches and we're going to do some fruit and things. I think we've learned over the years, in years past, we've done things like made fruit cups and salads and amazing stuff. But what we find is that we do a lot of the work and we bring it down there, and it's not stuff that can be saved easily. And I think what we found is that when people come down there to the corner, and you'll see it even in the littlest kids, they're like, can I have a plate to take home to my mom or my sister or my brothers? Like, they have such a concept of like, this is so great, I'm enjoying this, but I want to make sure I can bring some home. So we're going to make sure that everything is individually wrapped and that we can take it home. And I know it doesn't quite go with the Green Committee, but we're going to try to like figure out a sustainable way of doing most of the stuff that we do. We're going to try to bring things like pretzels instead of potato chips, bringing things like 100% juice instead of, sugar juice, things like bringing like bubbly seltzer water, flavored like LaCroix, that kind of thing, instead of bringing like Coca-Cola or Sprite. So we will do things that will be a little bit healthier, but we've got a whole menu of it. And that's really kind of the idea of it. I think for it to be the most successful experience is if we can get as many people down there as possible. And I know people are like, well, I don't know, it's Inglewood, I don't know if I'm comfortable, whatever. First of all, it's a straight shot down the highway. It's a great time to listen to a podcast because now they've got the construction going. But really, honestly, you take the highway down. It's exactly how you would go to the Skyway. If anybody goes to like Michiana and stuff like that, it is exactly how you go there, except for instead of getting in the Skyway, you go to 75th and Stewart. You get off at 75th, you drive about 3 minutes and you're right there. So it's not like a scary thing getting off anything. It's just, you're right there in the neighborhood. You get to that corner and you'll literally like slow down, you get to that corner, you'll turn left right where they are. And people start coming out to you like, are you going with masks? Like, are you coming over here? They'll know. They'll look at your face and they'll know where you're supposed to be, but it's great. It's been an amazing experience. Tamara is one of my closest friends. When everything happened, 4th of July last year in Highland Park, she was the first person that I called. And she was devastated. So, so that, I think that is one of the biggest parts of this whole experience, is that we really created community. Rabbi Manasseh has come and spoken at our Bima a couple times already. And it's been a great connection with Makom Solel, and I do a lot of DEI work where I work at Makom and lots of different places, and I have to say it's one of those really true experiences. It's not just to do it for the day and be done. It really is. It's a connection that we've kept with them. So, and really to be successful, to get down there, I think it's to say, yes, I'm going to go and I'm going to bring whoever you're going to bring, bring 2 or 3 people. It's absolutely incredible. They are now doing, because of when COVID started, they started doing these food and pet food drives and diaper drives, and like they have strollers and all sorts of stuff that is donated, and they do those periodically on Saturdays. And they, if you want to see more about what they've done with those, go to their Facebook page, which you need to look up, Mothers Against Senseless Killing, because there are other mass organizations.
Look for the one that has the little lawn chair and the logo, because that's the one that's theirs. So we're gonna want people to kind of help coordinate this. We're gonna use Sign Up Genius. Thank you, Lori, for teaching us all about that. But if somebody would like to help coordinate with Laura and me, that would be great. And then we'll need people to sign up to either to donate food or make a cash donation if they don't care to, do shopping, and then take it down. The numbers. So the last time we went before COVID, we took food for over 100 people. Then we went down, I think the first summer they didn't have anything. And then the next summer we went and there was like maybe 10 children. It was just really hard, but, and we didn't go last summer. So we'll have to find out before, they should have an idea though, since we're not signed up till July 13th. So our date is Thursday, July 13th. We take books and maybe some activities. Laura usually does an art project with the kids and then serve dinner, and we're often done, anyway, and that's it. Then you clean up and go home. So if you would like to volunteer, I know we have other things to talk about, so let us know.
I was gonna say, we're out of there by like 7:30.
Yeah, I think
we're really not there past 8 o'clock.
I think we're.
What
no,
time
we're
do you
gonna-
go down? What time do you go down there?
The times is supposed to be 4 to 7.
Mhm.
And sorry, my dog is trying to get in the house. And you have to allow for a good amount of time for driving there.
Yeah.
I will already be down there because I do art with the kids once a week, and I go down there from about noon to 3. So I'll just stay down there.
Yeah.
And Kim will be there, and it'll be some of those kids. And then like what happens is their parents come to pick them up and then they stay for dinner, or parents in general.
I would even
they're
suggest
adults.
that we all leave earlier.
Yeah, we'll be done by 7, and usually sometimes we're
Oh,
done.
no, I mean, leave to go
Oh,
down. The
yeah.
Kennedy
yes.
is atrocious.
Yeah, we'll leave early, and I don't know, we should have looked at maybe Sunday dates instead of weekdays, but we'll figure it out.
And I think for driving, we can the best thing to do is actually a few Thursdays leading up to that is to just put it in at the time we're thinking of leaving, and then we'll see what it averages out.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Laura.
Sure. Thank you
I'm
all. I am so inspired by everything this committee does, and I'm just going to share that out on Facebook because you guys are amazing. This is a really feel good thing. I have to run, but thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm excited we're going back down there this year and reconnecting. Lori, do you want to just briefly bring us up to date on what's going on with Day of Action?
So we haven't, Amy's, I'm not really sure. I don't mean to sound, Amy and I are meeting. We were supposed to meet last week, and I had a family funeral that I had to go to. And so we're meeting again. We need to get letters out, but Amy's talked to, I can't tell you everyone she's talked to because she keeps the list. But she's talked to a bunch of people. I know she got blankets. I know we're not doing cookie decorating. I know we're doing rocks. But we're in process of getting everybody who wants to participate. And I promise at the next meeting, I'll have a better update.
That's quite all right. Thank you. I know we're adding a couple new tables, and there's a possibility of an electronics collection. I also know that in the past, that Amy and Lori and when Diane they did a lot of the setup on their own, and this year they're asking that we also get there a little early and help them set up, which I totally agree. It's not that people didn't offer before, but this time they're going to take us up on the offer. So just keep in mind, it's at the bottom of today's agenda are oh no, the Day of Action is not on there. So it's Sunday, August 20th. It's from 10 to noon, but just assume that we're going to be there earlier to help with setup.
Yeah, I would say between 9 and 9:30 would be really great.
Yeah.
Sorry, talk over your Vanessa. I think last year we got there at 9 and set up, and it wasn't, and I think the maintenance staff did a great job of pulling out the tables and stuff. There wasn't that much, but I think it would be nice. And it'll be organized.
Great, yeah. And people, I mean, it's good moving forward that other people see how this gets put together, because, it needs to be more than 2 people that know how it all goes together. So it just is beneficial for us as well as you, if some other, if we can all kind of work on it together and see a few more of the pieces. But thank you, and thanks to Amy for setting this all up. You guys are truly, very independent on this. So anyway, so Rich and Andy went to DC last week for the RAC call to action, or I don't know if that's was the exact day of action. It's also
It's another day of action.
And Rich, do you want to talk just a few highlights of?
Yeah, I'll try to be brief. And actually Wendy Rhodes was also there.
Oh, okay.
So it was 2 days. It actually started with a Commission on Social Action meeting, so which I attended, which covered, several topics. Right now, the CSA is looking at several resolutions that will present the entire URJ. One's on reparations. Another is on fossil fuel development, and last one's on rights of indigenous people. As Julie mentioned, as far as the anti-Semitism, there was a couple of panels, one on white nationalism, and then the Collaborative for Jewish Organizing did a program on anti-Semitism and tied it into the white nationalism, which was very informative. The other interesting thing is the head of URJ, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, updated, gave a talk on what's going on in Israel, and and I think he would admit he was critical of the government of Israel and not critical of Israel. So it's something we should be aware of and be allowed to speak out on. Then the actual day of action took place. The day, the National Religious Action Center has chosen climate change and its impact as their program for the year, is what their programming is on. And what they're doing is they're tying climate justice to social justice. I mean, it's impactful. There was just an article, something today on NPR, where all these trucks are parking and polluting all the air. And if anybody hasn't looked around, there's not a lot of truck parking lots in Highland Park. So, and one of the people we lobbied with is from Gilbert, Illinois. And Amazon is building a new facility, has built a new warehouse, but they can't get their trucks off the highway. So there was a vacant lot that they wanted to park hundreds of diesel trucks next to a school with their engines running 24/7, including the air. And again, it's not a community we're near. The speakers were Latasha Brown from Black Voters Matter, Ben Jealous, who used to be the head of the NAACP, is now head of Sierra Club. And then we also got to hear from Senator Warnock, and then we went onto the Hill to lobby. And the things we were lobbying for, the topics, and there'll be, alerts coming out periodically as necessary.
In the Kahila.
Full funding for the EPA, environmental justice for all, which is now has a Senate bill 872 and House Bill 2021. And then we encouraging our Congress people to support the executive branch in their spending decisions to limit pollution, primarily focusing on soot, mercury, carbon, and smog. And there was just a letter that we were supposed to send that was posted at services on Friday on Mercury, that was also published by came out from Religious Action Center. And Julie already addressed RAC Illinois, and I know that Sharon has in the agenda about the upcoming JCUA thing. There's an event on June 8th also. It's a book signing that this was in the RAC stuff about, I think it's Rabbi Arthur Waskow has a new Sacred Earth book launch that is in conjunction with Religious Action Center. So, if people want any information, anything that I can help with, feel free to reach out.
Sharon,
I'm sure you have a lot of
You're
interesting
muted. We
to
can't
say, but
hear
you're muted.
can't hear you, Sharon.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Rich, for your report. And it sounds like they really packed a lot into only 2 days. I know this was kind of an abbreviated event. On June 8th, there is also, it's called Power for Purpose. I thought I had put it on the agenda, but Power for Purpose, Moving Others to Act on Climate, 7 to 8:30 p.m. our time. It's virtual. And it's kind of a training, take action together, sending messages to the White House. So look for, it's already posted on Facebook. Look in your, if you get the RAC emails, you can look in there, and also we'll put it in the new calendar that's coming out, but that's not till June 6th. So if you need the information, contact Rich or me. Rich, Julie Webb asked where the book signing is. So if you want to post that in the chat.
It's virtual, and I might have the date wrong. But I will find it.
Okay.
Actually, I got it just today from Moscow. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So those are all our reports. If it's okay with everybody, we'll just, bye, Julie. We're gonna take 5 more minutes and just talk very briefly about
It's June 12th is the book signing, or the book launch, not a book signing.
Okay. Make sure that, I'll make sure that Julie gets that. Or if you want to send her the info, and we can get that into the calendar too. The ARC is, we always collect for the ARC between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but they're having a spring food drive. I'm sure it has to do with the increased, as all the food pantries are short on food. So Vanessa, do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
The email came to us. Holly sent it to me. Full transparency, I have mixed feelings because we're collecting cereal, then we have to collect, at High Holy Days the food. And frankly, I think it's going to be over before we've even started here. So I think, unless somebody really wants to champion it.
Does anybody have any opinions on or thoughts?
Well, yeah, I kind of am hearing what Vanessa's saying, and maybe we're going to dilute our asks if we ask too many times. I mean, we are just coming off of collecting all the cereal,
right.
And I think that was really successful. Yeah.
It's very successful. And know this, that starting next, well, we're not open on Sunday, and we're not open on Monday, but like starting next Tuesday, we got to move that cereal out.
Yes,
And
I will take some.
Great. We pack it in. Great. Even if just everyone, I'll put it out on Facebook and everywhere, and I'll keep announcing it, but we need to start packing it out. And you can take it to Moraine, Deerfield, Northfield, Northbrook, and they're so happy to get it. And it is that time of year when federally funded breakfast and lunch is going away.
Right, and Julie Schaefer works for Northfield Township, and I took some denials last year, so
Spread the wealth.
yes. But let us know when you want us to start coming in and getting it. All right, so we're not going to do the art collection. Is that what we're deciding? Okay, and we will see if we have something that we collect for the church. So our next meeting should
Do we,
be-
can I ask a question for
Yeah.
like these things that we collect?
Yes,
Do we collect for the same, like, could we, or do we, like, could it be like like we have like a, I don't want to say a set schedule of who we collect for, but kind of like a calendar that this month we're collecting for the ARC and this month we're collecting for whatever organization. So it would be maybe easier for people like me to remember. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
we do have, Lori, we do have some set things. Because the high holidays move around, but the ARC is at the high holidays. Cereal is between Pesach and Shavuot. And then, it's just that sometimes there's some new organizations. Lynn had some great organizations that we gave to over the years. And that's one of the things that we probably can look at our next meeting of planning out for the next calendar year.
Yeah, I mean, because I was just thinking even like last year for Day of Action where we collected the hard to recycle items. But if you always knew that, you know, you were going to be able to donate them at the in the Day of Action, then you have a little bin in your house and you collect them and you know.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Because I can't keep track, honestly, of who needs what all the time. So
that's a good point.
Sharon, I have one other thing for the common good. If I could have about 15 seconds.
Sure.
Congratulations are in order to Lynn Frank, who has been nominated to the Temple Board of Directors. So congratulations.
Here,
Lynn.
here.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
congrats.
I'm very excited.
Yes.
It
And
all started here, Lynn.
That's
It
right.
did. So many good things have started
So
here.
many good things have.
Yes.
Yes, congratulations. And she'll be installed at the annual meeting a week from
Which
Friday,
is
which I hope to see
Friday,
a lot of
June
you.
2nd.
Mhm.
There's a dinner which you have to register for, 6:30 services. So it should be a really lovely evening. And just watch your Macomb at home.
Okay, so our next meeting is going to be June 26th because June 19th is when we should have our meeting, but thank you, Linda, for connecting that. Anyway, so we'll meet on the 26th because we are going to want to talk again about Mask and Day of Action. There's some items at the bottom of the agenda. And the last one is a QR code or a website, along with the climate justice campaign, is to express your opinion that we need controls on mercury in the environment. Or
I'm pretty sure Rabbi put that up last week, Sharon.
yes, well, he had it up at the he sent it to us.
Right.
And he had the QR codes up at the so this is just trying to share it a little more
Right.
broadly.
Okay.
And we'll again put it in the calendar that'll be out June 6th. So anybody else have anything that we need to talk about? Thank you all for participating. And if there's something that you're not involved with that caught your attention, let somebody know that you'd like to help with it. And otherwise, maybe I'll see you at Lynn's installation.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, Sharon. Bye-bye.